Hello. Good morning. It is 11:34 a.m. on your Wednesday. This is our second edition of Weather Where You Are. This is a new segment that we're going to be doing every day, Monday through Friday, 11:30. Most of the time it will be me. Sometimes it will be Rodney and Courtney, where we're going to get a little bit more nerdy, okay? We might talk about hyperlocal forecasts, but mostly I'm going to be using this platform for all of you weather nerds to teach you some of like the things that I use for forecasting, some of the things that you might not know about, so that if you are someone who likes to forecast on your own, you can learn a little bit from this, okay? Today we are going to be talking about the MJO, the Madden Julian oscillation, and the Arctic oscillation. These are two things that I use to forecast long-range patterns that are going to occur, okay? So I'm going to get right into it. First, I want to explain what the Arctic oscillation is, okay? So this is just a website that I pulled up. Just typed in Arctic oscillation on Google. The Arctic oscillation, it has a big influence on temperatures across the eastern two-thirds of the United States during the winter months. But this also can be used in the spring and in the fall as well. So basically, the Arctic oscillation, you look at it, and it really tells you if it's going to be a warm period or a short or a cold period coming up. It is really, really accurate, guys. It's basically the connection between the Arctic. Basically, when the Arctic oscillation is in negative phase, there's a higher than normal pressure over the polar region and a lower than normal pressure at about 45 degrees latitude. Basically, the oceans and the atmosphere are interconnected, right? And they all work together to bring us our weather. I'm sure you guys know this because you've heard about El Nino, La Nina. This is different. This is just a difference between lower pressures and higher pressures over the poles that then have a big influence on temperatures here in the United States, okay? Now, I want to show you, I'm just going to type in Arctic oscillation up here. You can go to the first website and get the current Arctic oscillation, okay? I don't love this one. Let's see. AO. Let's look here. Okay, so this is over the long. I want a more accurate Arctic oscillation. Current Arctic oscillation forecast. Let's see here. You guys are learning with me. Okay, here we go. Here's what we're looking for. Okay, so you can see the Arctic oscillation is the top graph that you're looking at, okay? So when I show you this, it's the very top one, okay? And you can see it goes back through January, February, so the dates are at the bottom. The index you can see is either positive or negative, right? When we've seen those negative dips, like look at the negative dip between April and May, the last 15 days, how it went super negative, that's a cold signal. That signal's cold across the eastern United States, and you guys know it's been much colder than average. Now look what's going to happen here in the coming week or so, the coming 10 days. The Arctic oscillation goes positive, slightly positive. What does that mean? Well, that means that we're likely to see a shift to warmer temperatures. So the Arctic oscillation is something that kind of you can look at the forecast, but if you really want a backing of what the temperatures are going to be in the eastern United States in the fall, winter, and spring, the Arctic oscillation is the way we do that, okay? So once again, it's been cold because the Arctic oscillation has been negative, but it's going to go positive, which means I expect 80s to return. Pretty cool, right? Okay, next thing. Oh, and I kind of wanted to back this up with some details for you. So check this out. Last 7 days, will my clicker work? Will the clicker work? Will she work? Here we go. All right, so you know how we just talked about the Arctic oscillation, right? For the last 7 days, from April 15th through May 1st, was negative. Now look at the temperatures the last 7 days. They've been unseasonably cold, okay? Today, the high's only 71. Last year, it was 86. This is the coldest start to the month of May since 2005. So it's quite pronounced, this chilly pattern that we're in. Now I want to talk to you about the Madden Julian oscillation, which is a little bit harder to understand, but it is also just as fantastic of a tool for forecasting, okay? All right, so let's go to what the Madden Julian oscillation is. It's an areas of enhanced tropical rainfall, basically in the mid-latitudes near the equator. There are areas across the globe where there are enhanced tropical rainfalls. The cycle of that tropical rainfall is the MJO, and it's in phases. Basically, each cycle, which is an enhanced convection, which is like more rain, followed by a dry phase, which is no rain. That cycle lasts about 30 to 60 days, and there's 8 phases of that cycle. So the cycle kind of goes in a circle, and there's 8 phases. Look, I literally keep this at my desk. This is I use this for forecasting. So here's the phase, here's the circle, right? And then here the boxes are all of your phases, 1 through 8. We get a temperature forecast that looks like this, where the phases start and end. So the where you see the line, like let's start up here where 1 is, and that is the 1st of April, then 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. So it's April, all of April, the 16th, 17th of April, 18th is in phase 7, then the 20th, 24th is in phase 8. And then you can see that right now we are in phase 4, okay? It's very cyclical, and that cyclical cycle tells us if it's going to be warm, if it's going to be wet, just patterns that you can watch, okay? So right now in phase 4, and this is just from research that I've done, phase 4 is usually a warm phase for the eastern United States. Phase 6 is especially warm for the entire country. Phase 8 is especially cold for the entire country. Now let's go back to the map. If you look at phase 8, we were in phase 8, the 19th, 20th, 21st of the month of April. That was when we started to turn cold, okay? Phase 8 and 1, abnormally wet for the southeast. It looks like, we had a couple of rain systems that moved through. So now we're getting into phase 4. That's a warm phase. So as we get into phase 4, I expect it to warm up. If you take both of these, the MJO and the Arctic oscillation together, and they're both signaling warm phases or both signaling cold phases, that gives you a high amount of confidence that there's going to be temperature swings, right? So that we're going to enter into a warmer phase. So that's one of the other things that I use. The Madden Julian oscillation takes a little bit more time to understand. Arctic oscillation is just, it's easy. If it's positive, going to be warm. If it's negative, going to be cold. But the Arctic oscillation, you really have to watch it and watch it develop, and then watch what happens in the United States to kind of key in. Again, phases 4, 5, and 6, going back to the map. Let's see if I can move this down. Phases 4, 5, and 6, which is what we're in now, is warm phases. 8, 1, and 2 are abnormally cold phases. Phase 6 is especially warm for the entire country, and phase 8 is especially cold for the entire country. And then, for hurricane season, the Madden Julian oscillation is really, really telling too. So these are 2 of the tools that I use pretty frequently when I'm predicting temperature swings or patterns that are going to take over, okay? That is going to be it for today. If you guys have questions, of course, leave them, and I will answer them tomorrow. And if you guys have anything that you want me to touch on during these segments, like this is a very, I want it to be very interactive. I want you guys to be able to ask questions, and I can spend a whole segment on answering one of your questions. So please feel free to leave me questions. And we will do this again tomorrow. We're going to be doing it every weekday, okay? For now, I'm going to go. I'm on at noon, so I will see you guys in 15 minutes on Atlanta News First. Okay, bye.